They remember the battles. They forget how often I failed. How often I nearly quit. But every legend begins in the dark. Fire with the weight on my back. Every voice said I would never come back. The pressure that should have buried me put iron in my blood and strength in my feet. I don't need the fear to disappear. I move while the fear is still here. Let the thunder call my name. I learned to walk beside the flame. I was built in the dark, where the last light dies. Every wound left a spark. Every fall taught me to rise. Now the ground starts to shake when I answer the call. I was never born unbreakable. I became it through it all. The door, so I became what I was waiting for. I sharpened my will in the silence till I feared the darkness no more. I don't fight for the crowd or applause. I fight for the oath I made when I lost. When the world asked me to disappear, I will still be standing here. Strength without purpose is destruction. Power without discipline is a prison. I did not build this fire to let it consume me. I built it so nothing else could. I was built in the dark. Now I carry the light. Every scar is a mark that reminds me to fight. Hear the sound of the chains as they shatter and fall. I was never born unbreakable. I became it through it all. I was shaped by the strain. What was sent to destroy me only strengthened my name. Now the world will remember when they hear heaven call. I was never born unbreakable. I became it through it all. So this is my story of how I became what people called a hero. I grew up outside the wall. Beyond it, people my age were already becoming who I wanted to be. Same small room before the morning, same worn road beneath my feet. Beyond the wall, the towers glowed, while our side learned to make do. They had time to train till evening, teachers waiting when they failed. I learned lessons after working from old notes and borrowed pages. I told everyone I did not care. The truth was harder to admit. I watched their windows through the dark and wanted everything they had. I was grateful for my home and angry at the distance. Both can live inside one heart without making either false. Beyond the wall, they were already moving, while I was learning where to start. They had names that opened gateways, I had ashes on my boots. I could spend my life resenting every chance I never knew, or use the ache to cross the wall and find out what I could become. Academy students crossed our district, polished crests against their coats. They spoke about the coming trials like the future was already theirs. I knew jealousy was ugly, still I felt it in my chest. It was not that I wished them less, I needed proof I could have more. Every headstart looked like judgment, every easy laugh felt sharp. I compared the life I had begun to lives already far ahead. The wall became a mirror showing everything I lacked, but a gate is not a verdict until I choose to turn back. I do not need to hate their head start. I do not need to call it fair. I need one chance to enter and the nerve to meet them there. Beyond the wall, they may begin ahead, but I am done confusing late with never getting there. Let them have the names and training, I will bring the hunger too. I will not wait for life to level every road before I move. Ashes on my boots, stars beyond the wall. Tomorrow I will cross it, even if I start with nothing at all. So I sent my name to the academy, not because I felt ready, because I was done watching from outside. At the academy gates, everyone looked born for greatness. I was only trying not to turn back. I reached the academy before the dawn, towers cutting through the gray. Names of heroes filled the stone, like greatness had a place to stay. They wore their crests like second skin, their steps were calm, their voices clear. I held my papers in both hands, so no one saw them shake with fear. I had crossed too much distance to turn around unseen. But standing at the open gate, I felt smaller than my dream. At the academy gates, everyone looked born for this. I had borrowed armor and a list of things I missed. They walked in like the future had already learned their names. I walked in with nothing but a reason I had came. I may be starting far behind. I may not know the way, but I did not come this far to disappear at the gate. The halls were full of fluent answers, words I had not learned at home. Some had trained since they were children, some had never stood alone. I heard them speak of family masters, private trials, famous blades. I thought of every quiet night I spent just trying to escape. Maybe I am underprepared. Maybe everyone can tell. But being new is not the same as being doomed to fail. At the academy gates, I still do not feel ready, but I can let the fear decide, or take one step unsteady. They may have names above the doors, they may begin ahead. I have learned what darkness builds inside the ones it never fed. Then the ranking bell rang. By noon, every student knew where they stood, and everyone knew where I did. My name was last. The whole academy could see it. So could I. My name was last upon the board. No mistake, no second page. The room grew quiet for a moment, then returned to its own day. Some looked away to spare me, some looked longer than they should. The worst were those who smiled like they had always understood. I told myself it was one ranking, just a number, just a start. But numbers become voices when you already doubt your heart. to tear the page down. I wanted not to care. I wanted to become invisible before I left them there. Last on the board, last call to fight. Everyone could see how far I had left to climb. Last on the board, no place to hide. I could let the shame define me, or decide it was a line. Not the end, not the truth, only where I stood that day. Last on the board, but not the last thing I would ever become. The gifted spoke of advanced trials. I reviewed the first command. They moved with practiced confidence. I had to think before I stood. Every lesson felt like proof that I had entered far too late. But leaving would not make me worthy. It would only end the chance. Failure feels permanent when everyone can see, but a ranking only measures who I was before the work began. Last on the board, still in the room, still here after every reason said that I should leave too soon. Last on the board, then let it start from there. I do not need to look impressive. I need to keep returning. The hall emptied. But I placed a practiced blade in front of the trainer. Talent leaves when training ends. Discipline stays after the bell. Let us see which one you are. After the bell, the halls went quiet. After the praise, the lights went low. I stayed behind with bruised hands, repeating what I still did wrong. One more stance, one more page, one more spell that would not hold. No crowd to watch improvement, no promise it would show. Nothing changed the first week, nothing changed the next. I still forgot the simplest move. Whenever I was tired or stressed. After the bell, after the lights, one more failure, one more try. After the bell, when no one can see, I build the person I keep claiming I can be. No applause, no sign, turn. The gifted left before me, they had learned it on the first. I learned to stop resenting them and focus on the work. Some nights I felt unstoppable, some nights I barely came. The floor did not care how I felt, it asked me all the same. Breathe, wait, choose, move. Again. Slower. Again. Fall, stand, learn, improve. Progress did not look like glory, it looked ordinary and late. It looked like keeping one small promise when no one checked if I had stayed. After the bell, after the doubt, the moves that once defeated me are living in me now. After the bell, I hear a different sound, not people saying I belong. My own feet holding ground. Months later, I was no longer last. That should have felt like victory. Instead, the academy announced the first combat trial. And I learned there is a difference between improving in private and performing when everyone is watching. I knew every move. Then I saw the crowd, and I forgot them all. Split the arena, my opponent crossed the line. He wore the crest of 3 great houses, I wore every doubt of mine. I saw the opening I had studied, I knew the counter, knew the stance. But knowledge turned to noise inside me when the moment asked for action. Every eye became a weight, every breath arrived too fast. I had trained for this for months, I lost it in a second. I knew every move until the moment came. I knew every rule until they called my name. The room became a storm, my hands became someone else's. I had built strength in the silence, but I could not reach it there. First trial, first defeat, all that work beneath my feet. cruel that almost made it worse. They watched the next name enter while I tried to leave unseen. I thought preparation would remove the fear. I thought enough repetition would make the moment clear. But pressure does not ask what you knew the night before. It reveals what you can reach when doubt is at the door. I knew every move, I still could not begin. I had trained to beat another, I had not trained to face myself. First trial, first defeat. The board had changed, the shame remained. I failed under pressure. One loss became one thought. Maybe I was never meant for this. That thought was the real opponent. I avoided every hallway where the others trained at night. I heard the trial repeated in every door that closed behind me. I turned one failed performance into evidence of everything. Too slow, too late, too ordinary, too far behind to lead. The mind can make a sentence from a moment in the past. It can turn I was not ready into I will never last. Not enough yet is not the same as never. One defeat does not explain forever. I was not ready then, I may fail again, but failure only becomes the end when I refuse the next attempt. Not enough yet, let yet remain. I returned to the arena when the seats were dark and bare. I stood where I had frozen and let the memory meet me there. No crowd, no rival, no excuse to run. I practiced taking one slow breath before the first move came. I do not need to call the loss a gift before it heals. I only need to face what happened without making it my name. Not enough yet is not a final answer. coming. Then the academy received an emergency order. Students were needed outside the walls. Training was over. Inside the academy, failure ended with a bell. Beyond the walls, people paid for it. March beyond the practice walls, with every lesson in our heads. The map looked clear beneath the lantern. The enemy ignored the map. Our captain fell before the order. Every plan divided fast. Voices filled the narrow valley. No one knew which one to trust. I saw the opening, I gave the call. I sounded certain enough. Then the shadows moved behind us, and certainty became a trap. This was not the training floor. No mark line, no second score. Every choice became a life. Every pause became a cost. I knew the words, I knew the form, but real fear does not follow rules. Beyond the practice walls, I learned how much I still could lose. A friend went down beside me. I heard my name inside the noise. I wanted to reach everyone. I made no clear choice. I tried to fight in every direction, tried to carry every part. We survived because another student did what I had failed to start. There are losses you can study. There are losses you can name. And there are nights you hear one voice repeating that you came too late. This was not the training floor. The world did not care what I had scored. We returned with fewer answers and more silence than before. I had wanted to become a hero. I had imagined being brave. Beyond the practice walls, I learned that wanting does not save. We made it back. Not all of us came back unbroken. For the second time, I had failed when it mattered. This time, it was not about the ranking board. Talent can make you look ready. Character is what remains when you are not. I returned without an announcement. No speech, no promise, I had changed. I asked the ones I used to envy how they trained and why they failed. I stopped hiding every weakness. I stopped treating help like shame. I learned the gifted also struggled. They were simply skilled at different things. One taught me how to read the field. One showed me how to slow my breath. I gave them what the dark had taught me, how to keep moving without praise. Talent wins the first impression. Talent opens certain doors. But when the plan breaks under pressure, something deeper carries more. Talent cannot carry every weight that life will send. Talent cannot make you listen. Talent cannot make you bend. When the moment takes your comfort, when the crowd has disappeared, what remains is what you practiced when no one called you gifted. I may never be the brightest, I can still become prepared. What talent cannot carry, discipline will learn to bear. My ranking rose more slowly than the stories like to tell. There were days I looked improved and days I failed the same old way. But now a loss became information, not a verdict on my worth. I stopped asking, am I chosen? I asked, what does the moment need? Not the strongest, not the fastest, not the name above the hall. Be the one who sees the danger. Be the one who hears the call. Talent cannot carry. Talent cannot carry every person through the storm. Talent cannot build the courage to admit when you are wrong. When the moment takes your comfort, when the perfect plan is gone, what remains is who you practice becoming all along. I saw the enemy commander. I knew the pattern of his guard. Every month of quiet training moved inside me without thought. I held my breath. I chose the moment for the first time. I did not freeze. One clean strike broke his defense. The field erupted at my feet. I heard the others call my name. I thought the victory was near, so I chased the final opening and left the people at my rear. I won the duel, I lost the field, I proved my strength and broke the shield. I reached the goal I thought would make me whole, then turned and saw what victory had cost. I won the duel, I lost the field. A hero cannot lead by leaving everyone behind. While I fought to end the battle, the enemy divided us. My unit held without direction to a trap because I rushed. I had learned to face the pressure, I had learned to trust my hand. I had not learned that being capable does not mean you do it all. The worst mistakes can happen when confidence becomes a wall. When you stop hearing other voices because your own sounds strong. I won the duel, I lost the field. The crowd might call it victory, I know what it revealed. Strength without connection is another way to fail. A hero does not prove he can survive alone. He makes sure others make it home. I could see the fear in every face. I felt it too. So I stepped forward first. I stood before the final gate, with every failure in my chest. I remembered every time I froze, every choice I could not correct. I saw the strongest clench his hands, I saw the gifted lose their words. No one looked chosen in that moment, no one looked untouched by fear. I wanted someone else to speak, I wanted someone else to know. But every second that we waited made the darkness seem to grow. I was afraid of losing, afraid they would follow me, and I would lead them to another defeat. But courage is not certainty, it is fear that still takes one step. I am afraid, but I will lead. I do not know if we will leave. I hear the fear in every breath, so I will give it somewhere else to face. saw the same war inside me. The wish to run, the need to stay, the fear of who we might not save. I could not promise victory, I could not promise no one falls. I could only tell the truth. I was scared and still I heard the call. So I raised my hand before my courage came. I spoke their names before I spoke the plan. And when they looked to me for strength, I gave them what I had. Not certainty, a reason to move together. If I fall,
hold the line.
if I lose the way,
Call my name.
if fear takes hold,
Look beside you.
I will be there.
Afraid like you.
I am afraid, but I will lead. Not from above, but at your side. I cannot promise
We will win.
I can promise
I will not hide.
let every shaking hand become a shield. Let every frightened voice become the call. I will step beyond the gate, because courage does not wait for fear to disappear. The gate opened. I took one breath, then one step. Behind me, everyone moved. I thought the final battle would be the one where I stopped being afraid. It wasn't. I was more afraid than I had ever been. That turned out to be the point. First attack broke through us. I felt the old cold in my hands, same as the day I froze at the gate, same as every time I failed to stand. The fear did not arrive as a stranger. It came in wearing my own face. Everything I'd ever lost to was standing in that place. And the gifted ones beside me met a thing they'd never met. The moment where the talent ends and nothing's underneath. I have been here 100 times, not winning, losing on the floor. And the only thing I ever learned was how to want it one more time. Fear is not the sign to stop. Fear is just the room I work in. This is the battle that matters. fall taught me the floor. Every night I lost and came back was training for this door. They never had to learn it, they were winning while I bled. So when it turned to hopeless, they had nowhere left to stand. And I was already standing, not because I'm strong, because I've been down here so often that I know the way back up. You have lost every time before. Why would this time be different? It isn't. Then stay down. That's not what losing taught me. You are not one of them. No. I'm the one who's still here. Still here. Again. This is the battle that matters, and I am afraid of it all. I have lost this fight so many times. I have memorized the fall, so I know exactly what comes next. I know the weight, I know the cost, and I know the only thing that the darkness never got. It could take the crown, it could take the win, it could take 100 versions of the man I might have been. But it never took the morning where I stood back up again. Hear the academy bells, they once rang out my failure. Now they ring because I didn't stop. When it ended, no crown appeared, no voice declared I had become a hero. I was just a man who had been afraid, but didn't quit. They tell the story as though the Academy always knew. It did not. Neither did I. Came in through the gates in borrowed clothes, while the gifted ones walked past. I thought a hero was the student who learned faster than the rest. My name sat last upon the board. I failed the trial where all could see. I crossed beyond the practice walls and found out what a real fall means. And nothing about those years was glorious. No one wrote them down. Just a room, a blade, a morning, and the choice to come back around. Because talent takes the morning, discipline takes the year, and every gift I ever envied was a thing they never had to earn. This is what the darkness built. Not the gifted, not the chosen, just the one who kept returning when the easier road stayed open. This is what the darkness built. It thought that it was breaking me. Every night it put me on the floor. It was teaching me to stand. Not one perfect hero, just the thing the hard years made. There were years with no one watching. There were months with no reward. The gap between me and the gifted closed so slowly it felt like nothing at all. But the thing about a slow climb is you're still climbing when it's steep. And the ones who want it easy never learn to want it deep. I did not beat them with a talent. I did not beat them with a name. I beat them with the 1000th morning where I got up and went again. Fear was never the enemy. Losing never was the end. The only thing that ever beat a person is the day they don't begin.
Ashes on my boots, stars above my head.
Same tired hands, same restless heart, and one more step ahead. That was all it ever was. Not a moment, not a spark. 10,000 ordinary days of refusing to stop.
This is what the darkness built. Not someone without sorrow, but someone who kept building
When he could not see tomorrow.
This is what the darkness built.
Every loss became a brick. Every night I didn't quit was another stone in it. Let the gifted keep the easy road. Let the light born keep the crown. The darkness gave me something that the daylight never found.
The one who starts behind can still become the light.
Not because he was ready, because he would not quit. Hear the academy bells. They once rang out my failure. Now they ring because the dark years made me what I am. They called me a hero. For a long time I thought that meant I had finally become someone different from the person at the gate. Now I understand. I am exactly that person. He just kept going. Everything I am was built in the dark. That is the whole secret. There was never anything else.